All right, hey everyone, my name is Karan Idikala. I'm a solutions architect at Amazon Web Services. I'm based out of New York City, and I support small business customers in my solutions architect role. Today I'll be talking about how you can build multi-account security controls using Amazon QChat CLI, which is our AI coding assistant. And the unofficial title for this talk is Security Meets Vibe Coding, because I'll show you a solution at the end of this, and I haven't wrote a single line of code to build the whole solution. So I think that fits the title. As far as the agenda, we'll just do a quick introduction to what we're building. Most of this time, I think the butter is going to be in the demo. Then we're going to do just key takeaways and next steps. So security standardization across AWS accounts is challenging, but it's critical, right? Some of your organizations require NIST, various different compliances if you're in the healthcare, like HIPAA. Having that security standardization is important. It helps make your job easier and your life easier. Manual creation of security controls is time-consuming and it's error-prone. Security teams should be automating as much as they can through infrastructure as code. We shouldn't be in the console creating roles and writing stuff in the console, right? It's just too error-prone for security standardization. Security teams need efficient ways to implement and validate controls, right? And again, it goes back to not having to build everything in the console, having the infrastructure as code ready to deploy. Lastly, compliance requirements have consistent implementation, and we also need to collect the evidence in a way where we can support the compliance status for a particular framework that your organization needs, NIST, HIPAA, any of the SOC frameworks, right? So that's the introduction of what we're trying to solve for, the customer problem we're trying to solve for. Introducing a service, Amazon Q Developer. Any of you guys use this service or know about this service? I see a few hands. All right, awesome. All right, cool. And it's an AI coding assistant. It's designed to help across the software development lifecycle through your planning, testing, developing, right? Most developers don't spend their time creating code. They spend time planning, researching, testing, and they're not building net new code. And this is essentially designed to accelerate the whole process, not just the build phase. Again, it has agentic features to build. It's trained on the AWS documentation. So if you're working within the AWS environment, it has all the best practices. And I'll touch a few things about MCPs later. And again, with all AWS services, it's designed with security and security. It has built-in vulnerability scanning and remediation. So when you run the agent in the IDE or the CLI, you can actually run tests on the code base to see if there's any loopholes within the code you wrote. Available where you work, right? We don't want to force AI coding assistance on anyone. We want it to make your life easier. We don't want to add extra work for you to use an AI coding assistant. And this goes to the point of it's available where you work. So if you're a developer that works in the CLI or the terminal, it's available in the terminal. If you work in the IDEs, it's available in the IDEs. We support hundreds of them, the most popular ones as well. It's available in the documentation, the console application, and we're building continuous integrations into various other platforms as well. So moving on, now we introduce what QDeveloper is. As far as the demo, we're going to solve this particular use case where I don't know if you guys build a lot on in the AWS console, but whenever I'm trying to build a solution either for a customer, just demo something out, I go ahead and give myself a privileged access, right, to build a solution. I'm like, all right, once I get it working, I'll go back and fix it and be secure. But a lot of times we get busy and you don't go back and fix those permissions. And now we have a IAM role with privileged access, and now you have a compliance issue. So what we're trying to solve for here is using services like config to assess, audit, and evaluate your IAM roles. Make sure there's no overly excessive permission or roles that are provisioned, right? We'll use Systems Manager, where we can build a remediation document in case we do have a non-compliant IAM resource. We can actually go ahead and take action and remediate the non-compliant resource. Security Hub, it's our cloud security posture management system. So we'll have a single pane of glass to see all the non-compliant resources and security controls. It supports some of the frameworks that I've mentioned before, like the NIST framework and other frameworks that I'll show you when I get to the demo. And lastly, SNS integration, right? We need to notify our IT admins if there is a non-compliant resource. So we'll have integration with SNS to send out those emails anytime a resource is non-compliant. So I think that's enough for the presentation. I think the demo is really the sweet spot of this talk. So let me switch over. So I mean, we're in the AWS console, like standard things you see. So let me show you what the cloud, the infrastructure, the YAML file that was created using QChat CLI. All right, so we're in our working directory. And to initialize the Q developer in the CLI, all you do is type in QChat. Takes a bit of time. All right, cool. While that loads, I'll show you the prompt I'm going to be using to build the solution today. It's a pretty long prompt, right? With any LLMs these days, you have to be pretty specific on what you want the solution to be. It's almost like you're telling your student or telling a student and being very, very specific in what you want the solution to be like. So it's a 42-line prompt, right? And I'm asking it to create me a CloudFormation template using AWS custom config rule to evaluate overly excessive IAM roles. So I'll go ahead and copy this for now. It looks like Amazon QChat's loaded up. It's using the Inforce on it model right now. I can go ahead and enter the prompt. It's going to start going through this automated reasoning and agentic workflow to start building the solution for me. It does take a few minutes, especially because what I'm asking for is a pretty tall task. So while that runs, I'll show you like a version I worked on earlier this morning that was deployed. So this was the YAML file that it created for me, right? Over 750 lines of code that was generated from a prompt, right? And it has resources like config code, Lambda code for our custom config rule. We'll have resources like IAM roles here. And then if I scroll down, we'll have more resources for additional Lambda functions. It'll have the remediation document for SSM. And then you'll see some more SNS resource that was created in the YAML file for me as well. And again, all this was one prompt. I did not write a single one of these codes. It was from just a prompt. And again, you might be wondering, like, hey, like, what about security? What about risks of having a prompt generate all this for me? With QChat CLI, you can actually have it run security scans after it builds the solution for you. So it's like you can ask it, hey, like, now you built the solution, can you run a CF like CloudFormation lint on it, or like other security tools on it to make sure that this is a secure solution? So it really is end-to-end in terms of the software development lifecycle. So let me go in the console. I already deployed it earlier this morning. GRC321. You can see it created completely, or it was successful. You'll see outputs, the config rules, the evaluation lambda, the notification topic, and remediation lambda. So if I actually go into the actual config rule, this is the config rule it created. And you can see I have a few IAM roles that are non-compliant. So if I actually go to the IAM service and look at the particular roles, so I created a few test ones, right, for this talk. So if I go to GRC GRC321. I believe this was one that showed up. As you can see, it's an administrator access permission. It has wildcard actions on actions and resources. So clearly this is a overly excessive permissions, this provision. So if I go back to config screen, click on test role for GRC321. And again, just to preempt this, as part of the solution, it built me a systems manager remediation document, which can actually go ahead and remediate this permissions. So click on remediate. It's saying action queued. So in the backend, config is calling APIs to systems manager to run the remediation document. It looks like action is taken successfully. If I go here and I refresh, you'll see the administrator access policy is gone. It adds a default remediated policy that just has like basic get, list, and describe permissions. So that was a quick way to just kind of get the non-compliant resources back into compliance. And then as far as the code, I can show you guys. If I go here, there's the evaluation and the remediation Lambda function. If you go into the remediation function, and again, all this code was part of the CloudFormation that was used to provision these Lambda functions. Again, you'll see the helper functions, the security hub integration right here. You'll see SNS integration here, actual evaluation logic here. We don't need to go into the code, but essentially, this is the code that's powering the identification of the non-compliant resources. I did mention there's a security hub integration, and security hub is our cloud posture management system. Single pane of glass, we can aggregate findings from multiple accounts and regions for our security people to have one service that they can go to get a posture of their environment. IAM excessive permissions detection. This is part of the custom integration that we've built. If you go here, you'll see, hey, this particular role is non-compliant. It failed the compliance check. And then you'll see the account ID and the IAM role and the actual resource. So you have the integration there. And if I go to my email, I mentioned there's a SNS integration, right? This is the email I got about 2 minutes ago. And it shows you the particular role, the account ID, and it'll send you that notification to your IT admin to let them know. So that's the end-to-end solution we have here, and that was again like the craziest part is it was all built using one prompt that I showed you, 40 lines of English, right? And it built this whole secure solution for us to automate, and it gives us a CloudFormation, and at that point you can deploy it across all your accounts using stack sets, all your regions, right? Really speeds up the whole security aspect of things. And a few other cool things. I'll talk a little bit about MCP servers. I don't have much time to give you like a full understanding of everything that's involved in it. But Model Context Protocol, built by Anthropic, right? It's essentially a way for you're essentially giving additional tools and to your LLMs, right? LLM clients. In this case, it's QChat CLI. So, for example, AWS published a list of our core MCP servers, right? We have the diagram MCP server, we have the cost analysis MCP server, and there's a whole list, and it's growing almost each week. Essentially, these are additional tools LLMs can leverage to give you more accurate, more grounded responses. And for this solution, not only did I ask it to build me the solution, I asked it to build me the architecture diagram for the solution it built. And this uses the AWS diagram MCP server to build me the architecture, and it looks pretty accurate to me. So essentially, it's scanning the CloudFormation again, getting the semantic meaning behind the code, and then translating that into AWS architectures. I also used another MCP server, right? The cost analysis MCP server. And what this does is it actually uses the actual AWS pricing APIs to give you a current price of an architecture. And again, this is going through the CloudFormation to see the solutions building and the resources that are being used. Of course, it made some assumptions on the usage. Might not be fully accurate here. And again, but I have the option to make changes in the chat. So like, hey, my usage is different. I use it a lot more, and then I'll update the page for you. So I asked it to create me an HTML page with the pricing for the architecture. It gives you a breakdown by service. It gives you the breakdown by the service, and then if you go down, you have a summary table. And then it actually gives you cost optimization recommendations, right? It's like, hey, if you notice this costs are going up, these are a few actions you can take to reduce the cost. And it lists out its assumptions it made, right? And that's another way that you can kind of fact check it. You'll have exclusions in terms of what was calculated in the cost, and finally a conclusion. So that wraps up the demo part of it, and I thought it was pretty cool that I was able to do all that using just a prompt, right? I didn't build any of that. I didn't build architecture. I didn't build pricing calculator. I didn't build anything. I just wrote 40 lines of English. So switching over. So key takeaways, right? We're using generative AI to simplify and reduce time to secure environments. We're no longer spending days and weeks. That probably would have taken me at least 1-2 weeks if I was only spending on that solution to build it, right? Now I built that sitting in my bed for like 10 minutes, right? Focus on strategy over implementation, right? This shifts the priorities of our security teams to have more conversations on the strategy aspect and reducing the time to actual implementation. Leverage AWS config for continuous monitoring. We looked at the service of how it identifies and assesses non-compliant resources. We looked at how AWS Systems Manager can be used to remediate resources using remediation documents integrated with AWS config. And then use Security Hub for that single pane of glass to have access to your cloud posture. As far as next steps, these are some QR codes I recommend scanning and just spending some time on, especially if you want to learn more about MCP servers. I feel like everyone should be at least comfortable with what MCP servers are. I feel like it's going to have a huge impact in the next few months of how companies are going to be interacting with LLMs and generative AI. So definitely take a look. And then we have a key, more governance, risk, and compliance sessions that are going on at Reinforce. So you can scan the last QR code to find a little bit more about that stuff. But other than that, that's essentially the talk. I'll be standing over there if you guys want to talk about something for the next 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.